Next Generation. I'm Christian Naranjo. This is Pastor Jeremy Bannister. This is our Q&A session where we're answering some of the questions you parents may have about discipling your kids. And today we have a question from a parent here at the church at Heights Christian Church. And I think it's something that parents can deal with as their kids get older. And so the question is, what do I do if my middle schooler or high schooler starts to lose interest in the church? As you know, they get older, when they're in middle school or high school, what can parents do to perhaps ignite that passion for the church again?
Okay. This is a good question, because what's happening in mid-high and high school is that your children are kind of testing waters. We get this, I call this personally pushing on the bubble. They're trying to find out what types of freedoms they can have as they're growing older. They're trying to find out what you as a parent are going to say, this needs to stay stable. And so they're going to constantly challenge you on that. And church attendance may be one of those things, or youth group attendance if you want them committed to a youth group. Attendance might be one of those things, saying, is this necessary? Is this important? And as a parent, what we're having to do is establish that this is very important. As a matter of fact, it's so important that even though you're going to challenge me on that, I'm going to keep coming away with the same answer. Yes, you've got to come. Yes, you've got to be there. Imagine it this way. As a parent, if your child suddenly came up to you, they're 14, 15 years old, freshman year in high school, and they turn around and they say, I don't want to go to school anymore. Most of you would say as parents, well, you're absolutely going to school. You know, as a matter of fact, if I catch you not going to school, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Why is that? Because as parents, we know that the skills that they're learning in school, in their elementary math education, their science, their history, all of that is creating a foundation for them that's going to serve them well. And as a matter of fact, we know as parents that getting a high school education at minimum is so important for them to be successful in life, that for them not to do that would be subverting and hurting themselves in the end. So we make sure that that stays strong. No, over my dead body are you not going to school, okay? I'm going to make sure you go to school. You're not going to skip, and you're not going to skip classes. That's why we react so harshly as parents to our kids when they do try to get out of those things. And we find out they're getting out of those things. We come down with a very harsh punishment. Why? Because these things are intrinsically valuable. And that's what we're teaching our kids. And our kids get that message, because what happens after high school most of the time with our kids is that they want to pursue some other education, like college education or continuing learning education in a field that they're interested in. So what happened is after they've passed this time where they've challenged you on the importance of it, they settle in and realize how important it is. Same thing happens with the church. And so as parents, we have to talk about how intrinsically valuable it is to be part of the body of believers. Ephesians chapter 4, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, Romans chapter 12, all talk about the importance of the body of believers, and that how we're part of the body of believers, and through the body of believers, we become mature. As a matter of fact, Hebrews chapter 10, verses 23 through 25 talks about how we're supposed to continue meeting together to encourage one another in the faith. At this age in mid-high and high school, what we need to be doing is talking to our kids about the intrinsic value of us meeting together, that we need it for our maturing. And because we're maturing in our faith, we don't get out of it. And following the commands of Jesus means that we're following the commands to meet together, just like he asked us to. Now, there's a second issue with this. Not only do we need to talk about the intrinsic value and just say, you're not getting out of going to church. We're going to church. It doesn't matter if I have to fight you on this, just like I have to fight you about going to school. There's an intrinsic value that we want to continue on with this. But the second thing is this. As your children are growing older in mid-high and high school, they should also be serving within the church. A big part of the reason why a lot of kids say, I don't want to go to church anymore because it's boring, is a lot of those kids aren't doing anything in the church. They're not contributing. And part of them growing in their faith is them serving within the body of believers. Maybe they need to go and be a part of a children's church program and help out the teachers who are there. Maybe they need to, help the communion people who are serving, or help in the back and doing some of the sound equipment or some of the computer equipment. A lot of the kids are a lot more tech savvy than we are. And so having them sit in areas where they can be strong at, where they're a contributor to the body of Jesus Christ in an area that they're good at or enjoy doing, is another way in which to make church not boring. And not just not boring, but see how God is going to use them in the midst of their serving to encourage others in their faith and their walk in Jesus Christ. Just to give you an idea concerning this real quick. My daughter Victoria has served in the church probably since, 8th grade, 7th grade. She's 18 now. And so she graduated last year, and she's always served and still loves to serve in the nursery. Well, the person who's hired to come in and doing our nursery work actually goes to another church. But she invited us, because of my daughter's relationship with her, to come to her baptism, because it was such an important event for her. And she wanted people that she was close to be involved with it. My daughter had a part, not necessarily in her faith development, but definitely in her encouragement. So much so that she wanted us as a family, and my daughter specifically there, to be a part of this baptism. That is the encouraging part of it that she would have never got had she just been a youth who sat in there and listened to the sermon and didn't get involved at all. See, the service was a big part of her growth, but not just her growth personally, but her growth in seeing the value of being part of the body of believers. That's what children who are in mid, high, and high school are struggling with. So if your child is bored because they're in there sitting, they probably need to serve. And their service will do a world of good for them seeing for themselves firsthand why it's important that they are part of the body of believers. I hope this helps, and we hope to see you guys next time. God bless you.
Thank you for watching The Next Generation. You can find us on Facebook or go ahead and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. If you have any comments or questions at all, go ahead and leave it under either one of those two, and we'll get to it as fast as we can. Thanks again for watching.